I guess for the basics, Excel is a pretty powerful tool. It's great for taking raw data, turning it into usable data. There's a lot of things you can do to do that, quicker, more efficiently, and just get, better results that are, easier to be analyzed. So what I wanted to go over today was some hotkeys. Things as simple as Control C for copy, and then over some functions that you can do in Excel. A lot of formatting and some tips. Go over printing, how to get a proper page printed. Then I want to go into some formulas, just some basic ones. One of them I think is really, you can use it for everything. So I guess just go ahead and start. Well, actually, let me give you some background on where I got all this information, or learned all this information. So I used to work for this company called Tramo, and they're ranked right here. I'm going to be using this list. It's the top private companies. It's off of Forbes website. I just copied it and pasted it. So I used to work for these guys. They hired me as a derivatives accountant. So I did their financial instruments like paper swaps, and they're kind of too complex to have a system that allowed you to continuously update pricing and attach different fees and everything like that. So instead of using the system that we had, we used Excel. And they brought me in as a derivatives accountant, as a full-time position. I was able to kind of take it as, 6-7 hour a day task, and I turned it down to about an hour, which was, crazy. It's, pretty much like eliminating my job. So from there, they moved me into their AP. I did AP for 4 different business units. Their most profitable ones, and then I did accounting for a lot of their sub entities. So we had some like rail car entities, barge entities, different things like that. So that's where I got all my Excel knowledge, in addition to learning it in college. So yeah, kind of get into it. I'm going to be using this data to kind of show, the things I've prepared. Let's go over the hotkeys. Control C, copy, and copy and paste. Control X is cut. So cut, instead of pasting, you cut it like that. And then you got undo, which was Control Z. If you want to redo it, it's Control Y. And I'm kind of going over these because I'm going to be using them. It's like when you see me do something, like Control A, select whole data set. So when I go to here, I'm going to use Control A. It's going to select it. And it's just a quicker way of doing this. So when you see me just randomly do this, this is why I'm showing you that. Control space. So you select the whole column. Shift space. The whole row. All right, Control D is fill down. And I'm going to go over this quick. I realize that you might not learn it, but if you see something that you use in your daily tasks or, on a day-to-day basis, I just kind of hope that you latch onto it and kind of remember it. So Control D, fill down. So that's like fills down anything, So that's a good one, especially when you're doing formulas. If you got a formula here, just fill it down. F4 is repeat. So I wrote best for inserting rows and color coding. So if you insert a row here, you want to do it again, you just hit F4. Likewise, if you want to color something, all you do is hit F4 and it recolors it without having to go back up here, redo it again. So, and Rich, I don't know if you want to send these out after, just so somebody can see them.
Absolutely. I think it's a good idea to share.
Right. So control page up or page down and page up. That takes you through these tabs. So, a lot of this is if you're working in Excel a lot, to reach over and use the mouse. I mean, even just that, act is not having to do it saves you time. Control home and end. So that takes you to the very top and the very bottom of your data set, or of your page actually. It's of everything. So you'll see that. Control home, control end. All right. So
we do have a question here. Those dots that go around the box, what are those about, and how do I make them go away when they come up?
So those just mean that you selected it to copy or paste. To make it go away, you just hit ESC. ESC is always like a good go-to, that escape button. If you have a formula and you don't want it anymore, just hit ESC and it gets rid of it. So ESC is always a good go-to. So then Alt tab, that's going to switch between your windows or applications or whatever. So if I want to go, it'll take me to the last one. So if I was here, want to go here, I just hit Alt tab. You hold it, you're able to choose any of the ones you want. So you'll see me do that a couple times. Now Control T, that's going to create a table with your data. We'll get into that in a second. But then you have Alt semicolon. This is probably one that you won't use, but it's good to know. This goes along with hidden data because you're able to do things like hide rows, and this will select only the visible portion. So we'll get into that in a second. So let's go right into functions. One of the things I use Excel for a lot is dates. To count 117 days out from 12/30 is kind of ridiculous. So I always come to Excel and I'll do something like start a formula. You always use equals. So you do that plus 117 and it tells you what the date is. So that's
cool.
Yeah, that's real cool. And if you have two dates, say one, you can do plus and minus. Then you kind of got to do a little formatting. I'll tell you how many days it's been. So that's kind of cool. It's a real good feature. Yeah, so that's where I was going next in the formatting. All right, so we got 17. Well, let me do that the other way. Yeah, I had that as a date. Here, let me do it again. All right, so with formatting, obviously we want to show this as days, not a date. So it's kind of, you just go into formatting, right click, go format. And we're going to want to show that it as a number. You have a lot of different, choices here. It's kind of just knowing that it's here, you're able to choose what you want. So it's a good example of that. So to copy the formula by dragging, let's say we want to do this plus 30. So that's 30 days out. You just grab right here and you drag it. Now you have plus 30, plus 30, plus 30. So it's a good way to kind of repeat your data without having to copy it. So automatically resize rows and columns. That's just double click like that. Instead, if you want to wrap text, just come up here, wrap text. That's how you get it to resize like that. You want to turn it off. it'll do that. Go over into the next cell. So the hide and unhide function. This is pretty handy if you just have information that's not necessarily private, but it's just kind of a nuisance. It's like this. If you wanted to, if it didn't have any value to the person that you're sending it to, you can hide it. You just right click and go to hide. It'll hide it. So that's always kind of a cool thing. We'd always do it to see if somebody forgot something. It's like right here, we have Rich Longo's personal information. We can see social security number and everything. Oh, I was just kidding. Sorry, Rich.
Okay, that's okay. That's all right. You got a question here now. Can you use the drop down under the number in the taskbar to make it a date?
Drop down in the taskbar to make it a date. Up here? Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. So go both ways. Number. You got decimal points right here. So this is kind of good. I don't really like this number sign when you do that. Say this was a dollar value. You come up here and you do that, and it turns it into one format. When say you have, well, didn't do it, but another format here. Let's say for this example, there's two different, well, I guess that doesn't show you a good example. But yeah, you can absolutely go up here. Everything I do with a hotkey can be accessed up here. So, all right, so that's hide and unhide. You can do that with columns and rows also. It's just a right click, hide, unhide. All right, so continue. Edit within an email. Now I find this very useful when you don't want to risk screwing up your original worksheet, or say I had 30 tabs here, one for each employee, and I wanted to send each employee his tab. So instead of creating 30 different files, what I would do is I would attach it here, then I would open it up here. And that's not a good one because it's already, and then I would be able to edit it and save it, and it would only save to the email. So it wouldn't save back on your actual hard drive or whatever. So that's pretty cool, useful. Copy tabs, rename and color. It's all just a right click. So you can move or copy. Create a copy. Just right click. You can choose where you want it, or you can create a new. Where is it? There we go. Or move it to a whole new workbook. To rename, just double click. To recolor, just right click, tab color. Now you get different tab colors. It's the format painter. That's right up here. That's in Excel. That's pretty much in everything, you know. So you want this formatted like this. Click it. No, it's the same format. See, that's good when you copy and paste, and you know, everything comes in and its original format. If you want to do it to more than one place, you just double click. You can do it to everywhere. So then again, get rid of that. Ask. All right. So merge cells. That's when you want, like, say these to be merged, or here, I'll show you an example. So when I copied this, they had each break in this merged for some reason. That's right up here. Margin center. That might be good for maybe like a header, you know, if you want this to be one single, whatever. Do that, you know, title it. So when it's merged, you're not going to be able to sort or select data. You're not able to run through it. So to get rid of it, you know, you go to Merging Center, get rid of all of it, select it all right here. This selects the whole sheet. Merging Center. I'll get rid of all of them. All right, sort. So for sort, you're gonna have to have continuous data. Well, actually, you're not. You just have to select it, and it'll sort it no matter what. So go up here to data. You go sort. You got to check this one. My data has headers. My data doesn't. So let's put that in there. Rank. All right, so now we have it. We have headers. Select it all again. I'm just holding shift. It's the easiest way. Go like that. So hold shift down here. You got the whole thing. Go to sort. So my data does have headers this time. We're gonna sort by rank. That'll just get rid of all these. So you can see here we got a formatting issue, or Excel's not recognizing the $ or the number sign as, designation, or that is the number. So I think that leads me to my next one. There's two good ways to get rid of that. There's find and replace, and there's text to columns. So I always use the find and replace when there's, say maybe a spelling error that's continuous throughout the whole document, or there's something like this that I want to get rid of. When you do a find, well, I always use Control F, find. I use that in web pages everywhere. So let's see here. So this will only search in the selected area. If you don't select anything, it'll search everywhere. So like right now, if I look for pilot, it'll tell me it's right there. If I look for Allegis, it won't find it because it's not in what I selected. So to go with the find and replace, what that does is it takes, go to the find, go to replace. And it'll take what you're looking for and it will replace it with something else. So let's take the number sign. We can do it as number. We go to replace. You see how it replaces. We're gonna replace them all. Made 99 over 100 more. So now we got it listed in that format. I'm trying to get rid of it. So one thing I use this often for is to just pretty much delete something that's continuous. And with that, you just find something, replace it with nothing. And it's going to do that just in the selection. Replace all. And I got rid of everything. So now we're going to be able to sort. I'm going to use that Control A. Sort. Data as headers. Sort by rank. And you see now it says smallest to largest instead of A to Z because it's recognizing it as a number. And one cool thing with sort is that you can add levels. So say you had like here, say we wanted to sort it by food and drink and then revenue. You can add a level, sort it by industry and then revenue. So now I'll sort it by this and then this based on what you want to go. ascending or descending. So that's pretty cool. So one thing I want you to notice is they have revenue as A to Z when it should be smallest to largest. They're having this recognized as text, not a number also. So we see we can get rid of B and E, B2. That's something I wouldn't want to do. So this might be something where I want to use a text to column. I got another good example of this. Where is it? Right here. So this is something similar. We have text to column. We're going to take a continuous string of text and we're going to move it into separate columns. So with this, we can just taking a look at it, business intelligence. This is the technologies used by a certain company. They grouped everything together. Well, right here too, you can expand this formula bar, see what's actually in here. So business intelligence, big data. These are all the solutions they're using. Then we have their collaboration solutions. And where does it go? Then we have their data management solutions. So you can see that each one is being separated by a semicolon right before it starts a new set of data. It's right here, semicolon. So what we can do is we can go to text to columns. They're going to have two different options. We have delimited and fixed width. Fixed width is if you have data that's say, continuous in columns or continuous in rows, or you just want to do it manually. But in this case, it's going to work well by choosing to separate with just that semicolon. So when we look here, now we have it separated by the solutions used by, the type, which is pretty cool. So it's text columns. We're going to do that right here real quick, because I see that a space is another kind of character that I can use to manipulate this data. So we'll try text column with the same thing, a character. We're going to do a space. There we go. So now we got the dollar separated by this, Forbes representation that this is a billion. This might be, have some, credit at the bottom. This might be estimated or something. So we're going to get rid of this. We'll just add billion.
Right. So we do have a question. I want to know what if I want to hide something by category. Example, hide everything that is considered to be in the food and drink industry.
Well, we're going to get into that when we create a table or a pivot chart. So that'll be shown in a second. Let's kind of continue. I want to talk about transpose. So that's how you take one horizontal data, turn it vertical, or vice versa. So we're going to select all this. You just hold shift and press right, select it all. And then you copy it. We go back to the beginning, right click, there's a paste option right here called transpose. Now you turned it from horizontal to vertical. So that's kind of cool. Then if you want to get in depth a little bit, you could take it, you know, to a text to column, delimited with a, no. So now you have what it is and what the solutions are, which is pretty cool. All right, remove duplicates. That's something if you have, you know, on this, kind of double check. Say we had duplicates in here. Select your data. Go to remove duplicates. And it'll go through and it'll tell you which ones have been duplicated and go ahead and remove them. So that's that. Let's do subtotal. This is a pretty good one. I found when we're going through when we download our call logs, we want to figure out how many calls you made by a day. Let's use it in this. Let's try, you go up here, you can group, we won't go into that. Subtotal. So, and a lot of this is just, you need to know what you're looking for. So say for instance, we want to look up revenue as a total for each industry. So I'm not sure if you need to sort it first. Let's do that real quick. Sort by industry, A to Z. So there we go. So yeah, we want to add a quick subtotal. We want to figure out how much this is and have it displayed for each industry. A subtotal at each change in industry. We want you to sum the revenue. So that's what I mean by knowing. You need to know what you want kind of before you go into this. Just makes it easy to choose, go through and choose these. So replace current subtotals. There aren't any, so I don't know what that means. Summary below data. So that's going to insert a little bit of space and give it to us. So there we go. Now we have each change in industry. It's giving us the total revenue of that industry on the Forbes top 100 company list. And then over here, we can drill down to smaller views, larger views, grand total. Said $1,290,000,000. Jeez. But all right, let's back out of that. So go from there into printing. Jesus. Printing took me a long time to, like, you wouldn't think it was that hard, but to get everything to fit the way you want is actually pretty difficult. So like when we go here, this is 6 pages long. You know, it breaks up middle of column. Just going through these and trying to figure out what you want, what works best for the information you have. Actually took me quite a while. So obviously, yep, portrait, landscape. So we're going to want landscape. Still our columns don't fit. So if we go to scaling, we have the option to fit all the columns on one page, which is good. That's pretty useful. Now if we want to sort this down to one page, obviously you have that option also. It's a little too small for that. Another good feature is, say you just wanted to print these two. If you select it, go to print, you have the option to print only your selection, which is really cool. All right, so from printing, real quick, I want to show you a header for this. So the easiest way to get there is just down here in your different views. Go to page layout. Now you're able to add a header or a footer. If you go up here, one good thing to notice is, where is it? You're able to put page number. So this isn't actually 2 pages long, but put page numbers on there that way. So that's kind of good to know. All right, to go into a table, I'm going to switch this view back. Easiest way I find is just Control T. Or else you can go up here to Insert. You Control T, we'll select the range. Or you can do it manually. My table has headers, it does. So now you have a table. So this is kind of where I think the question was, what if you only wanted to show, say, construction? Now you're only showing construction. So one cool thing I want to show you about a table is this thing called a slicer. It's right here. Insert slicer. And that just kind of let's do industry again. So it's a quick way to go through the data without having to go up there and click, and actually having a visual of what all of them are. So business service. So you can go here. Else you can use control, and you can select numerous ones.
That is really cool.
Yeah. That's kind of a good way to use the table.
Now we do have a couple questions here, so let me interject here. One question: can you pull data directly off of a website? And then they've got it in enclosed top left underneath the home tab.
Sorry, actually, I don't know what you mean. Pull it directly off of a website. Is in like an import or something?
I'm not quite sure what the question is, so go ahead and elaborate on that more. Another question is, can you show the table thing, the pivot table and slicer thing again, please?
Yeah, sure. All right, let me get over this. Well, so I haven't gone into a pivot table yet, but the table I was talking about, you go to insert and you just go to table. That's pretty much the same thing as when you're doing this this group or whatever. I don't like that. So I just use Control T to go into a table. Then you have options to choose different styles. The banded widths or rows, so that's the color coding. You can insert a total row. Just a lot of different options. Slicer thing is probably the coolest though. Yeah, you just hit it, slicer. So revenue, they probably have to have some similar revenues in here. So let's give you a list of each category of revenues. So there's 3 of them at 4.2. So you have a real cool option. And then if you want, again, if you want to select more than one, you just hit Control. So pretty cool. All right, so the insert from web, I had tried to use that before to pull pricing off of a website to update, profit and loss statement, and I never really had luck with it. So if I was going to do anything, well, it depends on the amount of data that you're trying to pull. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If it's not a lot, I'd really just try and copy and paste and then find a way to, make the data a little more usable in this sort of sense. So yeah, let me know if there's follow-up there, Rich.
There's another question. Like the total row at the bottom of the table, is there an equivalent for average?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, here, let's get into that with a pivot table. So I never really liked pivot tables just because maybe I just like doing things more manually. But here, let me make some. Let me add another column. We're gonna do revenue by employee, revenue per employee. Maybe it's by. So we're gonna get that by dividing revenue by employee. What did I just do? Employee or here we go. So I gotta times this by okay. All right, that looks right. No, that doesn't. Here, give me 1 sec. I've done this before. There we go. All right, so now we just have another piece of information that I can use when we do build a pivot table. Real quick, to get this formula kind of ingrained in here, because I don't like if there's one error here, that there's another error here. You just take it, copy it, paste it, then you go to paste value, which is another thing you can do, up here, we paste by value, and it'll get rid of that formula. I don't know if my sheet kind of just screwed up there now. There we go. All right, so for a pivot table, it's kind of insert pivot table. It's going to select it. It's always going to take it, leave your original data, and put it into a new one, unlike a table where it'll just edit it in the same sheet. So it's going to go, it's usually an option. All right. Well, He's rich. I got lost for a second.
It's okay.
Delete that. Huh. I don't know what happened.
While he's doing that,
Okay.
you got it?
So, yep.
Got it? All right, good deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that was my Excel kind of screwing up or what. But all right. So pivot table is one of those where you need to know what you want, kind of as you're going into it. So Rich, I can't really remember what the question was. It was about adding average. So yeah, if you wanna, let's say we're gonna do industry, revenue. We don't want that there. See, my thing's kind of freaking out on me. Yeah, I don't know. This thing's lagging up or what. Yeah, it is. Just Rich. I broke it. I broke Excel. Huh. All right. So yeah, this is pivot table. Maybe it's working now. No, it still isn't, but I can talk about it. It's a powerful tool. You know, a lot of the Excel experts say it's one of the most powerful or most useful. When I worked as an accountant, I didn't have to maybe switch, or every report I made needed to be hard copied. So I wasn't in so much of an analysis for decision. I was in data manipulation to provide for other people. So I didn't have to go through, and I didn't need this luxury. But yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. So there we go. Here's it's not allowing me to get in here, and so values should be showing up here. And if it was, I'd be able to right click it, and I'd be able to go to average, or I'd be able to go to max, and that would show me, say, the company with whoever has the max revenue would show up right here. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with Excel. But right here, right click. If I want to go into this more in detail later, I'd be happy to. Yeah, it sucks, but that's right. There's going forward. We'll just move on from that, because I think it's logging it up. So some good formulas. Concatenate is the first one. So this is used to put together two different cells. So let's go here. Say we wanted to make, Jeez. So say we wanted to combine these two cells. We use this formula. It's called Concatenate. All we do is select the data we want, put a comma, select the other one, and it'll combine them. So when you're doing this, there's an easier way. That's just to put an and sign. So you put equals, select the cell you want, put and, select the other cell you want. Now you've combined two different cells. So when you want to do a space or add text that's not in a cell, what you're going to do is you're going to use quotation marks. So say I wanted a space, maybe let's do this. I want to do first name or last name first, and then I wanted to add a comma and a space. So Montgomery space Adam. The way you would do that is you would use quotation marks. So there. Now it's going to add that comma and a space. Combine it with the first name. I give that. Use that Control D. Copy it down right away. So that's concatenate. An if statement. That's going to be pretty much what you can use to do every other kind of formula you need. Doesn't really look like we have time to go into it, Rich. You want to just see if
I know that you don't have time to go into that because I've had to use those if-then statements before, and they can be a nightmare. So, right. If there are any other, we have one other question here I must miss. How do you put the lines in the columns, and how do you print some bolder than others or colored rows?
All right. Well, remind me the first part. How do you put lines in columns, like borders?
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to ask here.
So that's right here. Yeah. So let's say we just wanted a border around this. Go right here. Gives you an option to do either an outside border or every single border or any type of border. You can do line colors. So you can have it, say, dark blue. You can draw them on. You can change the size. It's pretty much whatever you want. What was the second one, Rich?
And when printing, he wants that stuff to come out when printing.
You want the stuff to come out when printing. So I'm not sure if, well, if you wanted grid lines on all this, you can just select the data, go through and do it. Or like I always do, just Control A, put all borders on it. Now you got borders on everything. I think they might be talking about grid lines. I think that's in view. Grid lines. So that was borders. To get rid of grid lines, there's grid lines. So yeah, that wouldn't have printed it anyway, but grid lines. All right, Rich, was there another one?
I think that's all of our questions. Folks, we have time for one more question, and then we have to move on. We have a BMC call after this. So any last-minute questions? Adam, great job. This information is very useful. I know I got a lot out of it, and I know it's not usually very exciting because of what it is, but it was good information. I definitely learned quite a bit. So I don't know about the rest of you. Anybody else have any other questions? All right, folks, this is recorded, And we are going to do another session that'll be a little bit more in depth than what he did today. And because I know that the pivot tables, they kick my butt every time I've messed with them myself. I've yet to figure those stupid things out. So hopefully we can learn from Adam on the pivot tables and some of the other things that he has to show. The if-then statements are also, they can also be a pain in the butt as well. So hopefully we'll do that next time. Thank you all for your time today. We'll get another Excel training on the calendar for you. And see you later.